Hi Astro friends, Melanie here on the 18th of September 2023. We're in the last week of Virgo, or I should say in the transition week from Virgo to Libra, as the fall equinox is on the doorstep. You probably also feel the change of season, especially here in on the west coast. We're having cooler air and cooler nights, and it's still beautifully sunny, but it's not really full on summer anymore, and actually end of summer as we're moving into autumn. And the fall equinox will be on September 22nd at 11:55 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time, and anywhere east of Pacific Daylight it will be September 23rd, 2023. So what's up for fall and what's going on this week? A lot actually, because we are now in such a retro season still. Mercury is playing lots of tricks in the U-turn mode, in the stormy mode, as Mercury is stationary, technically out of retro since the 15th of September, but until the 20th, in 2 days, in the post-retro storm, which is just like the pre-retro storm, that turnaround from retro to direct, or also before retro starts from direct to retro. These are the hottest phases of the Mercury retro process. So now it's about coming out of this exceptional mode where we have been called to become more mindful, more aware, more clear also, and less getting all wrapped up in details, in worries, in problems, in one thing leads to another, in critical mode, in complaining mode, lots of problem focus. That could have come up a lot with Mercury retro and Virgo, and becoming more clear and mindful, as I said, being on the meta level, noticing what the mind is doing rather than being in the mind, trapped in the mind and all its workings and its crazy all the stories it tells us, basically, right? So hopefully this Mercury retrograde phase in Virgo has been good for you and to you. I heard from quite a few clients that it's been a wild one, especially if you have planets in Virgo, or if you in the Pluto in Virgo generation, minute generation, born between 1958 and 1970, 71. All of us, me included, with Pluto in Virgo, have had Mercury at some point on their Pluto. So if issues around power and control came up, or things were just not, you couldn't sort things out, and you couldn't have sort of a planning control over things, or even micromanaging, that would have showed you a lot about where your mind can get all worked up, right? And what to do about that, and how to actually be in the power, in your soul power, rather than being in giving power away to the mind, and to trying to be more perfect than needed and stuff like that. So it could have also, as a subtext, right? So Mercury retro also shows us not just what's being communicated, but how it's being communicated, and what does that go back to. Could have also taken you back to previous stages in life, even childhood conditioning around being good, doing things well, doing things perfect, or not being good enough. All these stories with Virgo, and so much doing mode. All of that also contrasted by Saturn and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And that's where we're getting also to an aspect that is forming tomorrow. In fact, on September 19th, the Sun, end of Virgo, will oppose Neptune retro, end of Pisces. So that happens once a year, and these years with Neptune in Pisces 2012 till 2026, it happens when the Sun is in Virgo opposing Neptune in Pisces. And so here's a juxtaposition that needs to be bridged and integrated between the seasonal spirit, Sun in Virgo, that is a lot about, preparing for the fall season, wrapping up all sorts of loose ends from summer, and bringing things into alignment, literally doing some work around clearing, cleaning, and sorting things out that you might want to keep for the fall, things you might want to give away, all sorts of things to organize, right? So there's a lot to do in this September phase, lots of doing mode. And at the same time, do you actually identify with that? The identity issue comes up with the Sun. Is this you? Is this a true you? Or is it just a function that you are at this point performing? And it's a little bit similar to Mercury retro, right? And because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And then the Neptune in Pisces brings us to what is really the overall vibration here. What is the energy that you are running on in a way, right? Are you in a relaxed mode? Are you in openness? Are you allowing things to fall into place rather than you trying to arrange everything? Are you relaxed and adaptable? All of that is very Piscean, right? And can you actually roll and surf with the energies as they present, rather than getting all nervous and anxious and all these Virgo qualities that come up? But it's also a beautiful time to bring the two together. And wonderful would be dancing, music, anything that is really connective and brings us into a good energy. And at the same time, whatever we're doing goes better. Or we have learned skills from the Virgo side that are now just very natural and intuitive and in flow. And of course, with any opposition, like this one, Sun Neptune, relationship issues come up. And so you could identify more with the Virgo side and your partner and those who significant others projecting the Neptune side on them. So that could also be like, why is nobody here organized and everything is chaotic here? Stuff like that could come up, including additionally to Mercury retro. Or you identify rather with the Piscean side and project the Virgo onto everything. So you are very relaxed, at ease, all is chill, and why is everybody basically so, sweating small stuff, right? And being so neurotic, right, from the Pisces side. I'm not talking about specific people, of course. And so that Sun-Neptune opposition, it can also bring up a lot of confusion, in fact, and showing also, revealing and showing, bringing more consciousness about your own illusions and delusions and disillusionment. So that can be quite helpful. So Virgo likes to analyze and see, okay, looking at all these data and all these experiences, what is real and practical here and what was just a fantasy, right? So yeah, and then we have I'm just checking my little cheat sheet for the week's themes. We're having then the fall equinox on September 22nd or 23rd, depending on where on planet Earth you are. And here is the chart for the fall equinox. So yeah, actually, by the way, I should also say the Sun Neptune is also a beautiful energy to wash out the summer season. Maybe you want to do a ceremony tomorrow and a release energy in gratitude and in openness for what's to come. And here is again the fall chart. So the fall equinox chart shows the sun at 0, Libra, right? So the sun enters Libra, fall equinox. And from that time on, also, not necessarily exactly on the fall equinox date, but around that date, that in the northern hemisphere, the daylight hours are becoming shorter than the nighttime hours. So fall and winter are what's called the realm of the moon. And so night is getting longer than day, and spring and summer are the realm of the sun, with more daylight and more um, potential sunshine hours and longer days than nights. Okay, so here is that perfect balance point from Virgo to Libra, where we are stepping also into Libran energy. That is the Libra season is a lot about balance, is about a right relationship, harmony, balance, peace, and that becomes very important. So all these themes, justice, of course, as well. And with Mars already in Libra, Mars in Libra, and approaching the South Node in Libra, we might have strong urges, especially if you have something in Libra natally, born with that. You might have strong urges and desires to assert what's right and fair and just from the Mars perspective. Are you a warrior for peace? Are you a warrior for balance? And balance can relate to many things in life, can also relate to the climate, for example, or political issues and or relational issues. So how do you assert those without, from the south node, right, without losing energy and going into some shadowy or low vibrational experiences of Libra? What would that be? So too much strategizing, too much trying to persuade, the Libra thing, putting too much energy into um, trying to, assert with other people what you feel is right and just. But that might actually lead to more battles and not to more peace, ironically, right? And so pick your battles is basically a message also for Mars in Libra, especially with the South Node. And you also want to check with Mars being also often hijacked by the ego, how all your um, what's it called, like a um, crusade, right? In a way, all your crusade there, it might be very much ego driven. So that's important to check in. What do you feel you get out of it? And then noticing also with the South Node, also in square with Pluto in Capricorn, what does your soul, what does your spirit, what would the ancestors do, what is your the highest expression of you, the most mature and responsible and soulful way of you? How would the inner elder, in a way, act and show up here in all of this? Then for the fall equinox, I don't want to go into all the fall transits. That would be a huge one, and keep it shorter than that. I just noticed in the fall equinox chart that as you see lots of planets retro, still 6 planets retro after Mercury has gone out of retro, but still 6 of them. And all of them go retro in sequence of the zodiac, right? So the first, sorry, all of them go direct out of retro. The first one will be Pluto going direct on October 10th, then Saturn, Pluto end of Capricorn, then Saturn early Pisces goes direct on November 4th, then Neptune end of Pisces goes direct on December 6th, Chiron in Aries goes direct on December 26th, and Jupiter in Taurus goes direct on December 30th, and Uranus in also Taurus goes direct on January 20, what is that again? January 27th. So they go direct in that sequence, and it takes a while at this point this year for them to go from retrograde to direct again. So the first phase will be Pluto in October, and then another month for the next one with Saturn in November, and then another month with Neptune and Chiron, right? And plus the last ones and Jupiter, plus the last one Uranus in January. So that's a while. So we're still, in other words, with all this retro energy in the stretching out over the fall, we're still processing lots of things that happen on the outer level, and now we're integrating it, and we are ambulance is coming, okay, and we're integrating. It's always an opportunity to send blessings to those who are being helped at this point, and gratitudes to all who are showing up for them. And so, as I said, with the retrogrades and the turnarounds stretching out until end of January, a good opportunity to integrate experiences that happen on the outer planes, and seeing the patterns and coming back to inner integration. For example, with Pluto, when you dealt with power issues on the outer level, then it's time to find power and soul power within, right, under Pluto retro. With Saturn, it's about finding authority, and Saturn in Pisces finding inner guidance, inner spiritual guidance, rather than giving that away. And so on. So we're dealing still with quite a retrograde fall. And yeah, I want to leave it with that. You can also read up my fall equinox blog article, which comes out, it's already written, it comes out on the 20th of September. In 2 days, it will be published on my blog. And what else is going on this week? On September 24th, Mars in Libra will oppose Chiron retro in Aries. You can see it again also in the equinox chart. So you see Mars in Libra here, and you see Chiron in Aries. And both of them are also linked to the nodes. Mars in Libra with the south node, Chiron in Aries with the north node. So that's a strong energy building up this week as well. Also, since another opposition can also show up in relationships. So what's that all about? This is the dynamic between the warrior medicine of Chiron in Aries being about being authentic, showing up, being true to yourself, and maybe also taking initiative, starting something new, and not taking it personally if it doesn't work out. You just move on. This is a warrior energy, right? And it's a lot about authenticity. And with Mars in Libra, Mars is the planet of Aries, so it is also a warrior, but in this case, as I said, the warrior of peace, or can be also the warrior of trying to assert what you consider to be peaceful, harmonious, right relationship, but maybe it doesn't land well, it doesn't it's not well received because people are on a different track and they're not with you. They're not really engaging in relationship. That would be the Aries side, right? Very autonomous. So to be okay with that and not trying to force anything when it doesn't work out and doesn't work well, and also arguments, fighting, battling with Mars, right? In relationships, watch where energy gets lost or goes into the void and doesn't really work out. So rather, sometimes it's better to step away, is what Aries would do, and do something new, shift gears, and so on. Then as I said, we're still in retro record, yeah. And then for the moon, no, let me go first to the undertones. So now we're in the last days of Virgo, right? So we have today the 18th, then you have the 19th, 20, 21, 24, 22. 4 days in Virgo left, and 19, 20, 21, 22, 4 days. 4 days in Virgo left. And so this is the last end of Virgo, which has a Virgo undertone as well. So the last 10 degrees of Virgo have a Virgo undertone. And then we're shifting into early Libra, which also has a Libra undertone, the first 10 days of Libra. That's the September 22nd, 23rd, depending where you are on planet Earth, until October, okay, when is that? October 8th, something? Okay. So anyway, we're counting the first 10 days. Lots of math here going on, and I don't want to overly engage in that. So anyway, we're switching from end of Virgo, double Virgo, to early Libra, double Libra. And so what's going on there? It's about perfection for lots of people. It's, you could call it again, the perfect balance point. And what brings us into balance, what brings us into our own harmony, and that has to do with a lot of practice from the Virgo side, rather than being sort of frantic, frenetic, and trying to arrange things constantly. And sometimes they work out, they don't work out. Finding again inner a practice that really is helpful for you, is healthy for you, has passed the test of time. End of Virgo is also connected with end of Capricorn, where Pluto is. So anything that's grounding and anchoring you is really beneficial at this point. And also you might feel a strong sense of closure. It's the closure of the season, closure of Virgo, but also of summer, and maybe lots of wrapping up going on. So don't be too wrapped up yourself in all these busy activities, but do the harvest, celebrate harvest, literally do some harvesting, little harvesting, basically ceremony, right? Literally go and harvest apples or plums with friends. I was invited by a friend lately to come by and get some apples and plums, and then share the stories of summer, and appreciate the gifts of nature, right? So beautiful. Come with your basket, says Virgo, right? And then we're switching into the autumn season. Double Libra, from all the work, you could also say so much work that went into this last month of summer, and starting school, starting everything is starting up with September. And now we can turn more to relationships and to culture, to the arts, Libra. So that wants to be celebrated, and togetherness, right? So lastly, a few words about the moon. So the waxing moon, we had the new moon on the 14th, 15th. Waxing moon now is in Scorpio, where the moon is considered to be most challenged, right? So as of today, the moon in Scorpio, today the 18th, tomorrow the 19th, and until the morning of the 20th. So moon in Scorpio with the Mercury storm together, right? Mentally, emotionally, you get the idea. It can be a challenging time. Why? Because often with the moon in Scorpio, we take things out on ourselves. We don't feel good, and things are out of control emotionally. How does that make us feel? And what does that bring up? So it's really important to be extra loving with ourselves and others and love ourselves and them through shadow stuff that comes up. And don't engage in all sorts of weird power issues. Then the moon goes, and it's also alchemy, right? It's transformation. So moon in Scorpio is quite powerful, right? It can also help you and show you where you need to go deeper and into more intimate places that bring out dark stuff, and yet to not get stuck in it and move all the way through that so that things get really processed. Then the moon moves over the Phoenix point on Wednesday morning into Sagittarius. So that itself is already really an uplifting and an energizing vibe. Maybe you feel much freer after Scorpio moon experience, or you also have new understanding, see the bigger picture of it all, and a more positive outlook and more trust again. Then also great time with the moon in Sag for being outdoors and being out and about, right? And movement. That is so Wednesday it starts, also Thursday and Friday until Friday afternoon when the moon goes into Capricorn. Then we have the moon in Capricorn Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and until Sunday late afternoon. So that will be the first days of autumn, and the fall equinox will have the signature of the Capricorn moon. So Capricorn is a mature energy and is also really about elders, ancestors, the land, the earth. So it would be good to do anything that grounds you and grounds you in traditions or in tried and true experiences. And so literally spending time with elders and on the land would be great. And also maybe doing important work, getting important work done. And speaking about work again, but that's Capricorn. And that can have to do literally with arts and culture. And starting on that note into the season where you said, what has priority? What's the most important thing I really need to do now? It's timely, and it's about planning also with Capricorn. Then the moon goes into Aquarius on Sunday late afternoon until all day Monday, of course. Okay, just clicked myself away. And Monday the 25th, the day until these Astro News video buys go to. And actually even until Tuesday afternoon, the 26th, the moon will be in Aquarius. And so that brings also after the Capricorn energy, very grounded and also in square with the sun in Libra, which can be some kind of conflict between maybe career or anything purposeful and relationships. Check that out. And then the moon goes into Aquarius, and there's again more open, a freer energy, and also a lot about sharing, right? Aquarius and Libra are both very social. So that's it for this week. I hope that was helpful and I didn't get into the Neptunian net that's currently out there and the Mercury retro storm. And if so, it was an expression of the zeitgeist of the week. Give me feedback if you like. And below in the description of the video, I also post links to blog articles that are relevant for this week. I wish you well and a happy transition into autumn 2023. Take care.